So it's week 8 of the case study, and it's been an exciting week. So let's jump in and see how it's gone. So into week 8 of my sports betting case study, where I'm looking to see whether a progressive staking plan can make money even with a negative expectation, and this week's been a positive week. So I'll just quickly go through the rules. I don't believe this will work over all of the tests that I'm running, but I'm testing it out just to prove that it won't work on a negative expectation, but I do expect that progressive staking would work on a positive edge if you had that in sports betting. Now the case study rules, just as a reminder, are there must be a negative expectation on the bets, and I'm just taking lots and lots of bets to get this through. So that is why there is a high number of bets as rule 2. And rule 3 is that once I've hit $1,000 or more as a loss, I need to stop that test and restart a new test. I also stop if I hit over $1,000 in profit. So testing this week was test 5, and it was profitable and made over $1,200. That's our 5th test through the cycle, and so far we've won on 2 of those where we've cleared the $1,000 profit, and on 3 of the other ones we've either decided to cut it short because it was not working or there were coding issues, or it had hit the $1,000 loss limit. So test 6 is kicked off. I've kept it with the same rules as test 5, which is a 0.3 recovery with a -2 starting point, and it's currently showing a small loss, which is exactly what test 5 did at the beginning, because it needs to have a few losses and get that recovery in place to pull back those losses after the -2 starting point. So let's have a bit of a look at the metrics for test 5 that was completed. We had over 9,500 bets, which is a good level of testing. We've also had the profit, which came in at over $1,200, but you'll notice there that we still had $264 that were sitting there in losing sequences when we decided to stop that set of testing. So that $264 could have been recovered if we'd continued on with those sequences until they came in a profit, but I decided just to stop the whole test and start a new test. So we just essentially keep those losses, and that's why we're at $1,200 and not closer to $1,500. Now the max bet size did get very close to wiping us out during this test, and it was $727. That's starting to get the bet size up to a point where it gets very interesting and hard to get the money on. So for those types of bets, it does take some fairly high liquidity markets to get the bets on. But it was lucky and it got a bet on, and it won and cleared the losing streak and brought us into profit. So if we have a look at that actual bet sequence on where it got up to $727, we can see that it was essentially over 10 bets. So the first one was a loser, and it was at odds of $1.06. So even though the odds are really low sometimes, it doesn't mean that they're surefire bets, and you can still lose at very low odds. And remember, my odds that I'm using in this are between 105 and $1.40. So you'll see there we lost the first bet, we won the second bet. So I haven't taken into account any commissions that I need to pay on Betfair just for explaining this example, but when it is betting, it does take into account the commissions. So for simplicity's sake, I've just said the winner at $1.09, we just won the 9 cents on the $1 bet size. So you'll see in the last column there the running total. So once it got past the -2, we then increased our stake to $8.94. And that lost. So suddenly we are accelerating the bet size with the recovery, and we're now out to $38. It loses, again, we go out to $167. Again, it loses, and we're now on a $727 bet. Now, if that lost, it would have wiped out the bank, and this test would have been a losing sequence. But because of the rapidly increasing recovery using 0.3, where we are essentially jumping a fair bit in the stakes very quickly, it had a bet at $1.37, which more than recovered all of the previous losses. So we ended up in this sequence with a profit of almost $51 just because of the very large bet size. So test 6 is 1,600 bets so far, which is a good start, and it's showing a loss of just under $300, which isn't unexpected. We haven't hit all of the staking recovery yet, and there'll be quite a few which are either early in staking recovery or not quite there yet. So you can see the outstanding loss is almost up to $500, and that is because multiple sequences will be showing a loss before they hit the recovery. And there's also one recovery which is up to $187. Now that $187 bet is currently on a rugby union game, and the odds are $1.34. So if that game and that bet is a winner, then it should more than recover the losses on that sequence and should start to move us back to a profit. But if that loses, we are quickly going to start to approach the $1,000 loss. So let's hope there's a winner there. Now, if you're following the case study, I'll continue to try to get these out once a week so we can get up to at least 10 bets before we decide what to do next. But I'll continue with these case studies as long as I can and while I have things to test. Now, Melbourne Cup is coming up soon, so I'll try to put a video out around that. But if you don't follow racing, I will also try to get some videos up specifically around certain sports and some strategies that you can use. So if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe and join the channel so that we can help you improve your sports betting. So if you're having a bet this week, hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back next week with an update to the case study. Thanks.